Diesel, come back with those aquarium cars. You're causing confusion and delay.
Causing confusion and delay? Heh, I don't care. I'm opening my own aquarium and my star attractions is going to be this shark and this squid.
But then the Fat Controller ordered the Troublesome Truck to get on the rails to stop Diesel's devious plans.
Huh? What's this? Troublesome Truck in the way? That's no match for me. Boof! Ah! I gotcha!
Well, Diesel, you should be ashamed of yourself. Look at the confusion and delay that now prevails.
Well, Fat Controller, you better send me back to the Diesel Works and get your #1 Blue Boy to do all the hard work. Oh, did someone mention my name?
Yes, Thomas, can you come and sort this out? Devious Diesel's been, well, very devious. Well, hi there. Time for a bit of Thomas and Friends Wooden Railway adventure. My son found some fairly interesting toys in the shops that he picked out and wanted to bring home, so I thought maybe I'll wrap a video around them. And Devious Diesel is going to help us along the way. Mind you, he's not looking very devious. The first one we're going to take a look at is called the Giggling Troublesome Trucks. This is a bit of a catch because my son was in the store and he pressed the button and it started making him laugh. They're quite chatty, aren't they? That's what the back of the box looks like. It tells me it's 2012 licensed toy. It's an old thing. Nothing I get is new, I've noticed. Let's get into it. At least the Thomas and Friends stuff, there's a beginning tab there to get this open so I can get a nice grip on this. Yeah, they're laughing at me already. Oh, they're quite talky, aren't they? They're dying to play with me. Come out, you chatterboxes. Well, there's an instruction sheet here and it talks about putting in the little button cell type batteries, the LR44s. I'll come in and look at the non-battery one first. It's a quality build. It's got a great looking face. Looks like it's just seen a ghost or something. It's got that fearful face that troublesome trucks sometimes have when they're being naughty. Of course, it's got the magnet couplers, but what is very interesting is it's all rickety like troublesome trucks should be, and there's a cam on this back wheel here that when it spins around it looks like it affects and makes the load rock around. It's a very nice little toy. Underneath, and I think this is very important, it's marked Troublesome Truck, so that becomes an educational tool as well. There's some secret details there. It probably talks about when it was made and the factory and all the rest of it. But because it's a nice Thomas thing, you can't pry bits off it. You know, it's just quality. Sure, what do they pay for it? $22.99 for both of these. We'll call it, you know, $11 a truck, but it's well worth it. This thing is going to last a lifetime. Okay, we'll take a look at the other Troublesome Truck, and this is the one with the batteries in it. This is the Chatterbox. Let me take a look around before I trigger its noise. It's a quality build because it's a Thomas and Friends thing. That's where the batteries go in the back there. Some parents may not like toys which have little cell batteries, the button batteries. There has been problems with those, of children choking and getting quite severely burnt. But I'm sure the batteries won't come out easily on this one. The face, oops, the face makes you laugh.
Give up some nonsense.
Yeah, and it's got quite a few phrases.
Clickety-clack, don't look back.
I can't help myself pushing that.
Pull, push, backwards, forwards.
It's actually got quite a few things to say.
We like causing confusion and delay.
Ooh, I like this. I like it a lot.
Steamies are silly. Steamies are slow.
You know,
Give up some nonsense.
the only reason why I bought this was my son was playing with it in store, because in the packaging you can reach through and you could push the, push the thing and make it talk, and he just started to laugh. And then, of course, Daddy, can you buy it?
Look back.
And guess what? Daddy did buy it and brought it home. Even I'm having fun with it. Underneath it says Giggling Troublesome Truck, some secret codes, and this one as well has got the little secret cam which makes it go all rickety and look very, very troublesome. Well, I hooked these naughty boys up to Devious Diesel and give them a run. Well, there goes Devious Diesel. Look how sprightly he is. At least he's staying on the tracks. And the back truck is doing its bobbing and swaying and being quite troublesome, but the middle truck there is having trouble playing up. I wonder why he's just leaning to one side. Don't tell me we've got a Thomas and Friends mystery already. I'll have to go and investigate that, won't I? Going for a fancy focus pull here. Can I keep Diesel's face in focus? Ooh, hope I did it. I wonder why that metal truck is being troublesome. I'm going to have to come in and do an investigation. I thought it might have, you know, come good after a bit of rocking and rolling around the circuit here. The back one's fine. Just that middle one there doesn't want to play. I've given it some thought, and I'm going to try something with this middle troublesome truck, which isn't doing its thing. Let me haul Diesel up here and have a bit of a closer look at this one here, which is being quite troublesome. It's wanting to lean to one side. I've got a funny feeling that, you know, obviously it should be weighted to one side to work off the cam. I've got a sneaky suspicion that it's actually being weighted the wrong way. That's my first initial thought. I mean, what I was thinking of doing is just put a piece of weight on this side and have it so it rides the cam. It's got to ride the cam to do its troublesome action, if that makes any sense. I wonder if anyone else has had a problem with this one out there. I'm not, you know, obviously not right into the Thomas Wooden Railway stuff. My son is strangely getting into it more now. He's gone, you know, he had taken play first, and now he's getting into the wooden stuff, as weird as that sounds. Let me just investigate a little bit more about this. Well, with these trains, you haven't got the luxury of just turning them around because the magnets will repel, but what I will do is make the train go in the other direction. That might be a logical step to see if this leaning problem is to do with direction or whatever. Oh, that noisy one's off again. Here we go. Let's see if we get the rocking and rolling action happening yet. And off speeds, Devious Diesel. Is that troublesome truck coming to play yet? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Can you see any troublesome activity apart from it basically being a whole bundle of trouble? Still leaning the wrong way from what I can see. You know, the trouble for me is I wanted this to be a really nice little simple review. I didn't want problems or little things that didn't work, because apart from this beautiful train here, I've got bang, 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 bang to get through, and I never expected to have a troublesome truck being a troublesome truck, which is going to delay this video. I am very curious to get this fixed, because maybe, just maybe, other people out there have this problem. And I'll just bring Diesel around and I'll investigate it even further. Okay, here's my first thought, just to see what happens. I'm going to stick this little bit of blue tack onto the side. It needs to be leaning on the cam side, or the lug that makes it be troublesome. Let's see if this fixes it. Off we go, Mr. Diesel. And lo and behold, we have a troublesome truck being troublesome. So why do I have to put a piece of weight on it to make it work? Well, here's what I'm going to do, considering the trouble I've had with the troublesome truck. You can see what the problem is. I've got to put some weight on the side to make it work. Let me haul Diesel up there. Why do I need to do that to make this guy work? Who else has got this truck out there? Am I the unluckiest consumer in the world, or is this just a very, very unlucky one-off? I've just got a feeling it's been made back to front or something. I don't want to get into the full details of it in this video because I want to move on. Please let me know if you've got this truck. The 2012, wasn't it? I said earlier in the video, troublesome truck, which should have a cam on it and it should be rocking and rolling. Look, just let me know. I'll have a bit of a chat to you and then I'll investigate this further. Let's hear this again.
Pull, push, backwards, forwards.
What about rock and roll? Can't help myself, can I?
We like causing confusion and delay.
Yeah, you certainly caused that in this video. Plenty of delay. Nevertheless, they are fantastic trucks. Tell me what you know about them. Well, the next one is a Talking Thomas. It's a wooden variety one. It says real wood up here, although I think not much of this is actually wood. It cost me basically $15, $14.99. The back of the box looks like that. It's a beautiful picture there of Thomas. It says it's got a working light. Press the button on the top of his cab to make him talk. It uses some LR44 batteries. That's those little button batteries. Let's take a look. And I know some people out there will say, oh, but Leo, this is actually different to what's here. Can you spot the difference? Well, doing a bit of an unboxing shot here, it does tell me it's a 2012 Thomas toy. Hopefully there's some instructions and blah blah about the battery under here. I love the little secret compartments on toy things. It's got string. I'm going to have to get the big daddy scissors in here to get this bad boy out. Sometimes it's tricky to get these toys out. Oh boy, I'm going to go for the front snip here. Bit of reverse science to doing all this. One more snip, I hope. And the string keeps coming out. And here's a 2012 Thomas. The dates are actually on the inside of the wheels there. If you don't know, I only knew that, well, only recently in a sense. But he looks pretty cool. Here's the instructions. It talks about the battery, and it looks like his wheel set comes off and the batteries are hidden up under his wheels. So if I go and look here, there's a screw there, and if I undid that, the wheel set comes off and the batteries are tucked up inside there, tucked right away. Well, just taking a look at him in the round and the sense of my hands, he feels like a quality toy because it's a real McCoy Thomas and Friends toy. You sort of can't go wrong with them. What is interesting is the amount of timber or lack of timber. The centerpiece here is timber, and the core here where the wheels are is timber, and I think that's about it. The rear cab here is plastic. The front of his boiler and face is plastic. I suppose it's a bit of a 50-50 thing. His running plate there is plastic. I'm just feeling it because you can just tell plastic by the feel of it. It has a bit of a different feel to timber, which is sort of interesting in a way. He's a bit of a hybrid Thomas, and let's see what sounds he makes. The speakers at the back of the cab there. I'll be quiet for a bit. Here he goes.
I'm the #1 blue engine.
We know that. He's calling for Percy.
I must not delay. I have more jobs to do.
That's right.
Steamies are really useful.
Well, that's a nice thing to know.
Full steam ahead. Hello, I'm Thomas.
We know that.
I'm the #1 blue engine.
Well, hopefully we knew that as well.
I must not delay. I have more jobs to do. Steamies are really useful. Full steam ahead. Bust my buffers. This is hard work.
It's sort of
I must
cool.
not delay.
But
I have
what's
more jobs to
interesting
do.
about these sorts of toys is I found out when I gave some toys away which spoke or were talking toys, and people were given an option whether to have a talking toy versus a non-talking toy, the people always tended to go for the non-talking toy. And although he may not really like this, let's team him up with Diesel and let's give him a spin. Oh yeah, Diesel is going full pelt there. Look at him go. Bringing Thomas around. At least one thing for Diesel, he's not derailing as I thought he might do. He's on real Thomas track here. And it looks absolutely smashing, doesn't it? What a pair. If only we had that sort of harmony in Soda Island all the time. And he has got a light. If I make him say something, his little light comes on at the front. That Troublesome Truck's in shock from what he's seen. And if you're wondering about my little train circuit here, I actually pulled a lot of the parts out of that wooden starter set. It's a toy which varies in price between $39 to about $55 where I live. The fat controller there, the signal was with it. The curved track to make a circle was with it. But it only came with these little pieces of straight here. These other bits of straight I added from some train track I had inside. It also came with a beautiful railway crossing thing there and a little tree. And of course it comes with its own Thomas and that caboose there. But when you buy a toy like that, you really are investing in the Rolls Royce of trains. It's going to be a quality thing. It's going to last you, well, hopefully a couple of generations, I dare say. I think these things are built like tanks, and I've proved that on my channel. And as Thomas comes along here, we'll haul him up and we'll get into another toy. I bet you Devious Diesels is going to be glad to get Thomas's backside out of his face. Well, the next two are Aquarium cars. They've both got a light. One's got a squid and there's a light feature there. The other one's got a shark and there's a light feature there as well. These look fantastic. My son, once again, he was in the store and he started to play with it and he said, "Daddy, these look pretty good." Yes, they do look pretty good. They cost $22.99. Basically just over $11 per car, isn't it? If you do your maths there. I noticed on the back it's 2012 licensed toy. You know what? It's actually very, very hard for me to find these toys. I'll talk about that in another video, but I got this because I thought they looked pretty special. Oh, again, there's that nice little tab. Makes it nice and easy for me to get into, or children if they wanted to open this themselves. I'm taking the joy away. This is actually my son's toys. I bought it for him, and he loves pulling things apart. Here we go. Come on out. These look great. Bit of instructions thing there because I have batteries in them because they've got lights. Oh yeah. Here's the instruction sheet with the Aquarium cars, and it talks about the battery installation. Once again, it's those LR44 button batteries. Okay, let's take a look at this first Aquarium car. the first thing I will say is I feel a lot of plastic on these wooden toys. The base here is wooden. It says light up Squid car. At least I know it's a squid inside now because it just told me. There's a light there. It's actually fairly impressive. It'd be a great little thing to be knocking around in the dark with. It looks nice. I mean, it's just a visual spectacle, this one, isn't it? You have rolling stock like this and you can be the king of the railways. It's got a little viewing port at this end. It makes it even more special. Because when children play with stuff, they look at stuff really closely and they get down to the level of the toy. And they love little things like this. Even I do. The battery goes in there. It's a nice wagon. You know, it's really nice. And it's funny, my boy picked this out because it was different to all the other things there. And of course I had a thing on the toy. You can go and play with the light and straight away your child wants it. And here's a bit more of a close-up of that squid. I don't know, it looks like... is it a squid or is it something else? Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I know, it's sort of eye candy like that. Kids love it. Looks like a trash pack if you ask me. I don't know, you tell me what you think it looks like, and don't be rude, please. Oh, I'm giving it a thumbs up. I like it. My boy liked it. Let's take a look at the shark. Do you know much about sharks? It looks like a hammerhead to me. Although I could be saying anything. It says light up shark car. Fancy that. No bin on this end and some secret code. Maybe someone can decipher those secret codes for me. Battery in this end for the light. A little viewing port there. At least the shark can see where he's going or when he's going to crash. So he can sort of hold on. Reef exhibit. It looks nice. Once again, you know, it's a different sort of rolling stock. It's eye candy. Children love it. Let's take a closer look at this shark. Well, I can see some gill details in there. He's not looking as trash packy as the squid. He's definitely a hammerhead, isn't he? When he's got a little head like that. His eyes on the end of that piece, isn't it? I'm not really into marine stuff. I'm just making it up as I go. Well, the next thing we'll do, we'll get both of them and we'll give them a spin with Diesel. Well, that there's Happy Diesel. This here is the shark car first, and this one is the squid car. Let's do it. Oh yeah, as Diesel speeds along the back straight there, he's pulling those beautiful aquarium cars. It looks fantastic. It's Thomas and Friends Extreme Eye Candy is what I'm calling it. And coming on the front straight here, it still looks amazing. Look at that go. Sort of thinking it's a shame they don't have like a lockdown thing so you can have the light on when the train's going around. Or maybe that's asking for too much. I mean, I'm just sort of thinking how children think. You know, maybe you can go get some blue tack and, I don't know, keep the button down, keep the lights on. Want to give that a go? Do you think it's going to work? I'm sort of thinking what I'll try is I'll put a little ball of blue tack there. That's the stuff that sticks your posters to the wall. Maybe overseas don't know what blue tack is. And then I'll put some sticky tape across the top of that. And maybe, you know, another way of keeping these on. Let's see if this works. Well, that one's on. And coming in to do the squid, same sort of sticky tape action. Let's hope it works. And with the sticky tape, I left a bit of a tab there, folded it over so it's easy to get off. That's my trick with sticky tape. And I better explain blue tack because some people have asked me, what's blue tack, Leo? Well, in Australia, it's from the company Bostik. It's probably one of those high-end companies with very big share prices. It comes in a variety of colours. Also comes in basic grey. You can use it like plasticine if you want, or Play-Doh. Look, you can make little bunnies with it. And what was very interesting is that people said to me, oh, but Leo, the downside is that you now get less for your money, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, no, no. No, 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 no. You're wrong. The people who contacted me saying this product downsized were actually wrong. There was the old format packaging, and it was 75 grams. Here's the new format packaging. Noticing also, it is 75 grams. But look what they've done. I'll line them up at the bottom. One of them is much, much shorter than the other. And I think the reason this happens is that the shops, the big players, the supermarkets say, hey, we're conserving space and we want to have your product take up less space, so can you reformat your packaging to be smaller than what it used to be? Or you may lose your space on the shelves. And maybe if I'm lucky, there are people out there who can explain to me if this is the reason why sometimes packaging gets reformatted but you get the same amount of product. It's quite interesting to see that. A lot of people said to me, oh, the blue tack's different, blah, 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 blah. No. It's actually the same amount of weight of product in there than the larger packet. If you want to start talking about downsizing, go and take a look at what's happened to this product here. And ask yourself, where's the 185 gram packets gone now? Go on, take a look. No one's noticed what's happened to this one. I've got a video coming up about this one that's going to rock the world. Anyway, after that ranting derailment, let's give these guys a spin. And in a couple of circuits, I will turn the lights down. And we will see the beauty of those aquarium cars with the lights showing those critters which are inside those wagons, which looks amazing. Oh, go Diesel, go. You're doing a great job. Tearing up the back straight there. Doing things really nicely. Well, I don't know how much you know about Devious Diesel. It's interesting. I think the devious aspect of him is being washed out. I don't know why, but in his old form, he would have stolen those trucks and he would have had grand plans to do something with them, which would have been against the Fat Controller's desires, because that's what Devious Diesel was all about. And hey, if I turn out a lot of the lights, those aquarium cars look rather spooky. They look great. And if I was in total darkness, they'd look even better, but I can't go total darkness because then you probably won't see the train. But nevertheless, I hope you can see just how cool they are if the lights are kept on. And I've used little bits of blue tack and little bits of sticky tape to achieve that. And if I turn this light away, it will be even darker again, and you can just see how cool that looks. Mind you, I don't know how long it's going to last. Ooh, almost in total darkness there, because those batteries aren't very big in those cars. And you may find it's going to be a very short-term effect if the lights are on all the time. I don't know, it looks really cool when it's in the dark. It looks very eerie, very spooky. Better wind this one up and move on to our last train. Diesel's been very good. Nice work, Diesel. And I better come in and turn the lights off because I put the tab of tape there. It comes off real easy. Okay, the next item is the Thomas with Brewster steam car. This is a pretty weighty toy. It also came at a price tag for me for $29.99. That's 1 cent off $30. It reminds me of the Jet one. I bet you it's going to be all metal, this back piece. I can feel the weight in this one. The Thomas in there looks pretty cool. It's going to be a tricky one to unbox, I think. There's a back picture there. It's funny, I rarely ever saw this in the shops. Like I said, I'm going to pull a video together about how difficult it is for me to get this stuff. And I'm sure that people who live in Australia will understand the pain of trying to get these toys and just how little of it is in the shops. It's remarkable how it just vanished. The last couple of years, certain aspects of the Thomas Empire have literally, you know, it's like aliens have come along and picked it up and taken it away, and I'm having trouble getting this out of the box. I'll try here. I've done a bit of snipping of stuff. It says 2013 on the back, or underneath the box or wherever. There's some instructions there. Looks like a plastic sort of thing. Coming out Thomas. I haven't got many of the newer Thomas, the new style Thomas, so he's going to be a nice one for my collection. And this steam doodah. It'd help if I watched the episode, wouldn't it? But of course I haven't, so I'm just going to fluff it all the way along. Well, here are the instructions, and it tells me where to put the battery. It takes one AA battery to power this steamer. And what I might do first off is get the battery into this steam biffo, whatever it is. It's quite a weighty piece. It certainly feels like a lot of steel in this. Sort of not the thing you want your child to pick up and throw at your most expensive TV. I was just turning the wrong way to start there. That was great, wasn't it? Look at that, he just stripped the thread, Mum and Dad. Yep, okay, let's get the battery in. In with this lovely no-name battery that comes from Aldi. And it's funny now that I've got this bottom piece, which is actually quite weighty, but this top piece is all metal. I mean, that's a very weighty piece, and I'm wondering why they make that metal. I wonder why it's not plastic. There's probably a reason why. Okay, it works. I'll get this back together. I can sneak in another very sneaky screw shot in this one. And it's all together, and the funny thing about it is, for some reason I'm thinking it looks like a part of Hank. That would clip onto Hank. It's like a giant boiler. Very impressive looking piece of toy. It looks like it runs pretty fast. Before we give it a run, I'll just sit down the back, booster steam car. 2012, interesting, it says on the bottom there, even though the back of the box said 2013. Let's take a look at the number 1 engine, Thomas. Interestingly, I did take a look here. It says 2012 under his wheels as well, even though the back of the box again says 2013. I think that's just your normal standard face. It would have been nice if it had some expression on there, but let's not go there. The later the Thomases have got nice curved features on the back here. Looks like some sort of machine comes along, Linisher, and takes the Sharpies off him. Nevertheless, he's a wooden Thomas. He's a classic toy, and he's going to last a long, long time. Well, compared to Devious Diesel, this is quite fast. I don't know if it'd be double the speed. It certainly looks very impressive. I should have gone and watched the episode, shouldn't I? Maybe you can explain to me what happens in the episode, or send me to the episode. I think you put links of videos into things now, can't you? On the YouTube videos. Send me the link of where this video is, so that I can learn about it, which I should have done to start with. Looks fantastic. I think it's great eye candy. It's a great looking colour, that. Red and blue, bit of silver, you can't go wrong. If I put Diesel in there, you sort of see how sluggish Diesel is, and look who's catching up. Look who's catching up. Boof. Whoa. Got a bit of a biffer going on there. The steam car is now pushing Thomas. That couple in the middle there has gone to the side. Oh, and it's done a drop. And maybe that's why Diesel's so smirky and laughing, because he's been the instigator of more trouble. But the best thing with playing with toys is you can just have that happen all over again. Oh yeah. It's connected up, but how long will it last? How will it fail us next time? And it's all Diesel's fault, remember? He's causing this trouble. Oh, it's coming off, it's coming off. I know my boy would play like this. I've learned a lot about how children play by watching him wreck stuff. He'd be quite naughty like this. How's it going to fail this time? Same spot? Oh, predictability, isn't it? Same spot. Well, you've caused enough trouble here, Mr. Diesel. We'll retire you for a bit, but what I might do is get this powered car here, and we'll try and push along some other combinations of cars. I think what I'll do is I can do a showcase video of the ones that I featured in this video. Not often I've looked at the wooden stuff, is it? I should probably do it more often. There's the Talking Thomas. Here are the Aquarium cars, in no particular order. Put the shark on there, and we'll get the Troublesome Truck guys going. I don't want to hit that button because I'll start laughing at me. They're like kookaburras in a way. Kookaburras are a bird in Australia that if you do something silly, they sort of laugh at you, or that's the feeling you get, because they tend to know when you've been silly. I don't know how. And here comes the steam car. Let's go. How long will this last, boys and girls? Are we headed for impending doom? Who knows, it might be the fancy new way to get the wooden stuff powered around the tracks, eh? It's going pretty fast, you know, I'd like that speed. I think most children would be impressed with that. I'm impressed. Troublesome trucks have been troublesome, apart from the one that doesn't want to be troublesome. That looks pretty cool. Little blue hero is heading up this train. It's going at great speed. Oh, bit of a notchy thing going on there. What happened then? Probably one of those... Oh, that coupling's looking a bit sad, isn't it? Ooh, what's going to happen? Going up the back straight here. Yeah, that jockey wheel, as I call it, isn't being so jockey at the moment. It's been quite naughty. But nevertheless, it's sort of working, I suppose, in a sort of kooky way. I suppose I could do a bit of a Thomas double header, couldn't I? Look at that. You don't see that every day, do you? Poor old Devious Diesel is just left in the middle, oiling his ways and feeling very left out. But then again, he's been fairly devious. What a fantastic looking train. And I'm sure that coupling's going to do something a bit kooky. Doesn't like the corners, I don't think. Just that tiny bit of magnetism is stopping it from becoming a disaster. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's over. But you know, it's done quite well to push that along without any effort. I couldn't see any wheels spinning or anything. What's a little bit strange is it doesn't have a magnetic coupling. I'll just turn it off here. There's no coupling on the back. I like couplings for some reason, because then things are more versatile. You get a bit more playability out of them. Let's just see. We'll retire this for a second. Let's just see if Devious Diesel can push this quite long train along. I'm pretty sure he can. Let's see if he does it. Yeah, he's doing it. It's sort of going probably a little bit slower, I think. But nevertheless, he's powering all those trains. That looks fantastic. And that slower speed is still going to be quite an enjoyable play speed. There they go, double header Thomas there. Looks great. Aquarium coming along. Troublesome Trucks, and one of them being very troublesome and not doing his rocking, which has to be investigated, and Devious Diesel oiling up the back. Now the Wooden Railway series, the Thomas one, it's a very, very impressive toy. It's expensive compared to, of course, the other toys that are about, but I'm pretty sure that I proved in that destructive video I did of the Wooden Railways just how impressive it is. You know, the Chuggington one was impressive as well, but I think you just get a little bit too much plastic in that one. The Thomas series seems to, in the basic model, still be mainly wood. I'm not keen on toys which sort of revert to, you know, wooden toys which are nearly all plastic, or die-cast toys which are nearly all plastic, which seems to be very, very common these days. But the Thomas Wooden Railway, in the basic models, tends to stick to wood. Mind you, in just saying that, there's actually a lot of plastic on this train that we're watching. That boy there is a lot of plastic. So is that one there, and so is that one there. That troublesome truck isn't it, but the one which is the talking one, I think he's nearly all plastic fantastic apart from where his wheels jot in, and the one running up the back there, it's nearly all metal. I don't think there's much timber or wood in him at all. And the sort of same goes for that jockey there. Oh, maybe we can just say it runs on wooden track. That's a nice loophole, isn't it? That's the best way of saying it. Yeah, Thomas Wooden Railway that runs on wooden track. If the track starts to turn plastic, man, will you see a screamer video from me? I guarantee it. It's sort of interesting now. I see those two Thomases. They would call it a stock standard Thomas at the front there, and that's the talking Thomas. Can you see how many differences there are between those two? There's actually quite a few differences once you start to have a bit of a closer look at them. And I know my audience will love looking at the differences in those two toys. Always interesting to see those little tiny changes between the toys. I love that sort of variation as a collector. I look for that sort of variation because I think that sort of variation makes collections very interesting, and that's why it's fantastic to collect Thomas, because there's so many variations of that classic toy. It's not funny. I'd hate to put a number on it. Maybe someone out there can say, well, you know, Leo, there's over 1,000 variations, or, you know, there's a couple of hundred. I know there'd be more than a couple of hundred. It has to be. It could be up 300-400 the amount, but it just seems to never stop. I've just got so many different variations of Thomas, and bring it on, I say. There's a few major ones I've got to collect yet. There's a Lionel one, the Bachmann G-Scale one is another one. I'll get them. I guarantee I'll get them. It just takes a bit of time, a little bit of patience. But in the end, hopefully I'll get every variation of Thomas there's been. That's my plan. And as you can see, that troublesome truck never came good. It has remained troublesome. It's meant to be rocking. It's not leaning on the right way. But I better haul this up. And there's just one other thing I'll show you in this video. Thank you, Devious Diesel. You've done a grand job. As most of you would know, I have a massive Thomas the Tank collection of the character Thomas. But if there's one other character I want to collect, it would be Devious Diesel. But what I notice across my small collection at the moment is that his face has changed from the previous devious looking Diesel we had in the earlier toys. If you need a reminder of just how devious looking Diesel was, take a look at an old take along, look at the toy's face, and he had a grumpy, devious face. Possibly a better example is an Ertl Thomas toy. This is a beautiful toy. Look at the face on that. To me, that says Devious Diesel in the way that he should look. This is one I converted to run on HOOO track because it was part of Mad Bomber. In fact, I think it looks much better like this. And this character, if you remember, was called Mute because he had some blue paint on the back. What does that blue paint mean? But nevertheless, this model is stunning, but the face on this model, to me, says Devious Diesel. Another fine example to me is a Tommy Devious Diesel. That says Devious Diesel to me. And it's a beautiful model as well. Even this small 2007 Checkout Thomas has a devious face. But when I take a look at a Trackmaster Talking Diesel, he's been sniffing the roses. He's looking decidedly happy. And in this Diesel's Mind Discovery Take and Play toy, look who's happy. So is this new rendering of Diesel's face something to do with the CGI change in his realm? Or is this to appease young children who don't like to look at characters who look a little bit off-putting? Maybe I can throw a spanner in the works here by looking at a very recent Thomas & Friends magazine, only purchased a couple of weeks ago. It has a little task here to learn how to draw Diesel. Let's take a look at the picture that you have to draw. Is that looking devious? It's interesting, isn't it? The children get to learn to draw the old classic Devious Diesel face and transpose it over to here. It must be quite interesting to see what children draw here, if they draw a happy or devious face. And what is interesting, in the back of this magazine, there's a few more pictures of Diesel. And there's a little game here you can spot the differences. Do you remember those games when you were young, on rainy days? Of course, there's a Pinocchio nose here on Diesel, and this is the scene where, what was it, the JB Logs had just gone over because he'd been, well, quite devious. So what's your thoughts there on Devious Diesel? Did you enjoy him when he looked devious, or do you like the new style of him these days? I know there are some people who like the changes that have gone on, especially the newer fans, but I'm pretty sure some of the older fans would be yearning for that classic devious look. Well, I came across some Chuggington stock. How amazing, because it's so difficult to get. It says high performance here, stack track. I suppose that's a new stacking track system they've got. And it's Chug Patrol Jackman. Now, what's very interesting with this toy is that it basically undercuts the Thomas & Friends Take and Play toys by about $2. This is a Toys R Us buy, so it's going to be expensive. $7.99, call it $8. Very hard to get this toy, very little stock, which was in there. It's talking about here, tighter turns, faster speeds, facial expressions, the differences in these. Not quite sure exactly what, because I haven't really investigated this because it's so hard to get the stock, but the whole die-cast aspect of this, I used to call these the Chuggington die-cast. Let's take a look at one of these toys. This is my son's, and I'm going to do a dedicated video about this, but I want you to take a look at this toy first. I think they're trying to key into a Diesel 10 thing here. It's got the coupling system that obviously doesn't couple into the Take and Plays, which we've covered that many times on my channel. I mean, it's a great looking character. I think this character looks fantastic. It's got the great paint job. It's just eye candy. My son, you know, likes this character as well. He watches the newer show. But what's very sad, and you know, I said die-cast before, how much of this toy is die-cast, or how much do you think you'd expect to be die-cast? Let's take a closer look. Well, the first thing I noticed when I've got this toy in my hands is it's very light. Now, I don't know, I'm thinking if toys are running downhill, and I always used to think that weight was an advantage. The old Take-Along Duck was a really heavy toy. It used to be a screamer going down hills, but this toy, the whole top of it is plastic. Now, the old Chuggington die-cast, they weren't. They were actually all basically die-cast shell. And they had a plastic underneath, but look what they've done. They've reversed it round. They've now got a die-cast strip in here, and at least they've got the names. They've done something right. I mean, that's really nice to see. How long did it take to get the names on the engines of these toys? You know, the horses bolted, I'm sorry to say. It's been a long time since I looked at these toys on my channel because I find it extremely difficult to find, which I do not understand. I have enough trouble finding the Thomas toys, but I don't know. Is this the only toy which is like this? I can't find too many more. I was trying to find more for plastic top. Is this the way it's going? Maybe you guys can tell me, and maybe, you know, what's your thoughts on that? Let me just drag out some of my son's old die-cast stuff, and I'll just show you how much they get used and how much, you know, how much wear and tear they get, which I think this toy is not going to take as much of. Okay, here's Brewster, and he's all die-cast on the top here, and he's plastic underneath. And this toy has been given a fairly rough time in the way that my boy plays. He loves to, you know, throw his toys around. He loves to, you know, smash up trains like other children like to do. You can see there's a lot of paint and stuff missing off this toy. And when you compare that there, and it's a nice weighty toy, I mean, it's not overly heavy like the old Duck, to this thing feels like a feather. I feel like this is going to lift off into space. It's almost like someone thought, well, how can we change this so much that we almost got a totally different toy? Like, you look underneath there, the only metal of that is the bottom piece. You might as well not have even put that in there. And I don't know, it's deemed high performance. I've got to put this on the track and just see exactly what they mean by high performance before I start to really go off like a rocket. Maybe you've got this toy. Maybe you can tell me about it if you can. I know these were great. you know, the original ones here. The only fault I had with these was that there's actually two. The coupling system I didn't like, because it couldn't couple the Thomas Taken players, and the fact they didn't have a name. Well, okay, we've rectified one thing here. We've got a name on the bottom of these, finally. I mean, how many years did it take? But I don't know. Maybe that's going to be a tough toy. Maybe it's going to last. Maybe for the fact that the colour is in the plastic there, it's not going to be chipping off. Maybe it's better. But man, this thing has stood this test of time here. Brewster looks fantastic. And let me bring up, I'll show you, I can tell which one of my favourites, my son's favourite toys is. You can look at the battle damage that they've got. Look at this Diesel 10. I love this look. It's got the natural look of a boy who has loved his toys. You can't fake that look. Look, it's been in water. You can see it's starting to rust up there. It's really getting hammered, and I love toys that look like this. I mean, the thing is, let's say if this was all plastic on the top, how would it look? Would it look better? You know, the fact that it's all starting to rust and corrode and stuff, maybe plastic doesn't do that. Maybe there's advantages to plastic that I don't understand, but that has lasted, and it's lasted a lot of punishment. The question is, how long will a toy like that last? Maybe you guys out there can tell me. Sorry for getting a bit ranty there, but that boy in the middle has to prove himself before I'm a happy camper. And the best way to find out how good or bad this toy is have it play with all my son's other Chuggington and Take and Play toys. There's a few take-alongs in there as well. And I don't think any of you have seen this. You know, I bought a lot of these toys for him. He's had a lot of enjoyment out of these toys. Some of these toys have had immense amounts of play. Some of them have had very little play at all. He's certainly got his favourite characters and others that are obviously not his favourite. It's actually been very interesting to see the ones that he keys into. There might be a few bogus ones in there as well. I think that thing there, what's that? Some Matchbox thing, isn't it? Sadly got stuck in there. But as you can see there, there's one of his Thomases there. He's had a number of Thomases. There's a bit of a story the way one of his major ones ended up. It's actually going to end up in Train Extreme's hands, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, there is a lot of toys there, and they've all been extremely good. And there's a bit of a wider shot of it. I can see Toby there. He's very well loved. He's nearly missing most of his paint. Are there any pairs up in there? Can you see any pairs apart from twins? It's certainly impressive, and boy oh boy, does my son love his trains. And do you remember the YouTuber Sarah Tuplin, who most graciously gave me all the names of the Angry Birds? And because I was so grateful for that, I actually sent her a prize. She lives in England, but unfortunately what I sent over there was never picked up at the post office. This parcel has done a massive round the world trip, and it's taken months and months and months to land back on me. The Royal Mail sticker there says it was not called for, so Sarah never picked this up. And interestingly, Sarah sent me a PM telling me that the prize, it was a secret prize that I sent her, never turned up because I never actually showed anyone what I sent her. But what has happened is, and this is very sad, and it's part of the dangers of sending stuff in the post. I can't pull this up fully because I'll show Sarah's address, but you can see she lives in the UK. This has been gotten into, and there is stuff being stolen out of the bag, and that's really, really sad to know. So I sort of don't know what to do with this. It cost a fair bit of money to get over there when it's been not picked up. Stuff has been stolen out of this prize. Maybe the audience can tell me what to do. They're pretty good at suggesting things. But it's the first time that's happened to me. I've sent a lot of stuff overseas in the mail, and I'm sure Sarah is going to have something to say to me as well. Well, this video got derailed. It's far too long. It drifted into some strange areas. But as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.
No way. We're opening up blah 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 blah. I'm causing confusion and delay. Who cares? What's this? Troublesome truck, out of the way.
Boof!
I gotcha!
Diesel! Yes, Thomas, it's time for you to come in and bust. Well, I suppose I can retire Diesel if he doesn't get clipped up. And to me, that's looking classic Devious Diesel. He's got a Pinocchio nose there, which is one of the differences. But that's one of his worried faces. That was on the, well, I've forgotten what video it was now.